So here we go with the first A final. You see Lee Martin getting a great start from that pole position. Cars running around pretty much in grid order through the first few corners, through a chicane on the back section of the track and across the jumps through the middle of the track. Lee starting to edge out a small lead already by the time he gets to the big tabletop jump for the first time. Hupo Honigel running in second place. Hupo in fact being chased down by Paul Bradbury, who'd started third on the grid. You can see Hupo in the blue and yellow car and Paul in the white car. Two of them going across the jumps, and Paul makes a move up the inside, coming off of the jumps in the middle of the track. He's in front by the time we get to the large tabletop, but Lee Martin's made a mistake there, and that's allowed Paul to take the lead. Lee running second and Hupo down to third at this point of the race. Lee has a look up the inside, coming onto the front straight. Can't get through, going through the twisty infield section that time by. So Paul still leading, Lee in second place, Hupo still running third, and then a small mistake from Paul coming across the jumps allows Lee a little bit of a look to get past, but he can't quite make the move stick, and then Lee makes a big mistake coming off of the tabletop. So Paul out in front still, coming on to the front straight away again. You can see the lead he's got back to the orange car. That's Hupo now running in second place, and Lee's dropped down to third. Meanwhile, Neil Cragg running the fourth place from ninth on the grid. Very quiet race in fourth, pretty much everything from the first lap onwards, but not quite close enough to challenge the leaders. Meanwhile, back at the front, Hupo's got very close to Paul now. Trying to find a way past, going through the twisty section of the track. Trying to pressure Paul into a mistake, going across the jumps in the middle. And Hupo himself makes a mistake, which allows Lee back into second place. Lee now chasing down Paul. And then Paul makes a mistake going across the jumps in the middle of the track. Those jumps proving so crucial throughout the event. So Lee now leading, Paul in second and Hupo in third. Lee getting the hammer down straight away, starting to pull out a small lead over Paul. You can see Paul trying to get back in contact with Lee, trying to cut his lines as tightly as possible, not make a mistake. Trying to jump the jumps as well as possible to minimise that gap to Lee, but Lee's got it all under control at this point. Paul remains close to him through the race distance, but then coming across the jumps, a small mistake from Lee allows Paul right up onto his tail. And as they go across the big tabletop, Paul tries a bit too hard and flips his car over, so that gives Lee enough breathing room that he needs to give us a decent lead. Meanwhile, Hupo's now caught back up to Paul. The two of them nose to tail coming down the straight for the final few laps. Hupo trying everything to get past Paul. Paul taps his barrier there. Hupo drives over the top of Paul's car trying to get past, but can't quite make the move stick. But Lee Martin out in front comes down the straight for the final time to win the first leg of the A final. Behind them, Hupo chases Paul right to the line, tries to move on the very last corner, but it's not quite good enough. So Paul takes second, Hupo third, Neil Cragg finishing fourth, and Peter Pinnish in fifth. Really close between the top three of you all through the race, changing positions, a few mistakes from all of you, I think, in that one, but you came through at the end.
I did, yeah. I was hoping people were going to crash because I did, so I was hoping other people did. I can imagine it was better to watch than race, but I'm super happy to win the first leg.
Well, let me tell you, it was a fantastic race to watch. Well done, and see what you can do in legs 2 and 3. Good luck. So into the second leg of the A final. Of course, if Lee wins this one, he will be the 2010 European champion. As you can see, a good start up front again. Some good action through the first few corners until we get round to the jumps in first place, and suddenly we have a few cars making mistakes, but Lee Martin out in front. Keeps it clean through the first few laps, and you can see already the sort of lead he started to pull out on second place driver, that's Hupo Honigel. Behind them, it was a big battle for third place between Mark Reinhard and Ellis Stafford. Mark starting fifth on the grid, and Ellis even further back. They had a great battle for most of the race. You can see Lee out in front though. Battle going on behind him. He's got basically the straightaway length lead over Hupo. Hupo running in the second place there in the yellow and blue car. So he comes across the great big tabletop jump. Meanwhile, we've got Hupo and Mark Reinhard now closing down on Hupo. Mark dispatched with Ellis and then tries to get up into that second position, keeping his lines very tight. Of course, Mark a multiple time on-road champion, but then makes a mistake going across the jumps, so that leaves Ellis in third place. Ellis Stafford, multiple UK national champion. But Mark Reiner closes back up to Ellis again, tries to pressure him into a mistake. The two of them very close, going through the twisty section of the track on the far side before going back across the jumps in the middle again. The two cars racing very closely for position, but both of them giving each other just enough respect on this demanding circuit. Coming around the banked corner, Ellis goes slightly wide and Mark makes a big mistake coming onto the straight, so that gives Ellis a bit of breathing room. Meanwhile, Lee out in front had a fairly easy drive at this point and is going to come down the straight, cross the line and win the two-wheel drive European Championship 2010. Behind him, Hupo Honigel finishes second. Peter Pinch actually gets third place at the line. So into the final leg of the A final. Of course, Lee Martin already won it. He's not starting this one. Hupo Honigel out in front, Paul Bradbury running second place, Jorn Newman running third at this point, Mark Reinhardt in fourth, basically in grid order as they come across the jumps the first time, but Paul makes a big mistake which drops him right down the field. That allows Jorn right up onto the tail of Hupo. Jorn having two not very good first finals, but you can see this time he is able to keep pressuring Hupo, but then makes a big mistake coming across the jump section in the middle of the track, which drops him right down the field. So Hupo, your race leader at this point, but he is really a win here will give him second place overall. That's all he can really race for now. And you can see behind him Peter Pinch closing right up, his fellow Austrian, trying to give Hupo a race, trying to find a way past again. A pair of them coming round the banked corner at the far side of the track and onto the main straight. But Peter attacking Hupo, and that's giving Paul Bradbury a chance to catch up on the pair of them. And you can see now Paul right on Peter's tail. Peter having to drop back a bit from Hupo as he starts worrying about defending his position rather than attacking for the race lead. The pair of them very close, coming round through the infield section and across the jumps, giving it maximum attack, trying to minimise the time lost in the air. Paul very quick off the end of the straight, makes a good move on Peter coming up the inside there. They're very close, the two of them touch, and Paul comes off the word, leaving Peter in a very clear second place. But Hupo Honigel stayed out in front, comes down the front straight to win the leg and takes second place overall. Pinch finishes in second place to give him third overall. So behind the top three we had Paul Bradbury finishing in fourth place, Jorn Newman was the top German in fifth, Neil Cragg in sixth, Ellis Stafford seventh, Mark Reinhardt eighth, Tom Cockrell ninth and Kevin Lee in 10th place.
Lee, great weekend for you. How can you sum it up?
Amazing. It's been an absolutely fantastic week. The rain obviously kind of messed up a little bit at the start, but it all worked into my favour. I couldn't have asked for anything more.
Hupo, almost a local favourite along with Peter here, but qualified second, finished second overall. Not quite able to beat Lee today.
In the first final there was a small chance, but we all made too many crashes. But the second final he was just gone, no chance for anybody to catch him. But I need to say this is pretty much the first race with that car. We did some testing with it and I'm pretty happy with still a prototype. So I expect the production car to be even better. It worked already pretty good.
Sixth place in qualifying, perhaps not what you were looking for. Do you think that's what's held you back a bit in the finals?
Yeah, I was really lucky in the finals because sixth from the grid is not really a good place to do good mains, but I've also bad luck in the first laps every time, but overall finished really good. Third of all, perfect.
The third leg of the final in particular, you look like you're right up there to challenge at the front places. Had you finally got the car and your head sorted out with the track?
Yeah, it was really good in the third main because Hupo and me had a big lead on pole, but after 3 minutes we saw Paul was really coming really fast near, so maybe I want to save the place. And yeah, we had a fight with him, but it was really okay.
Two-wheel drive now over. Start looking ahead to tomorrow and four-wheel drive.
Yep, tomorrow is a whole new kind of race, and I think it's going to be a great battle.
Think it's going to be the same guys at the top? You think you've got a chance to win the four-wheel drive class as well?
Definitely have a chance. It's going to be the same guys at the top. These two guys are going to be fast. I think a lot of the touring car drivers like Mark and Victor are going to be super fast because it seems four-wheel drive is good for them as well. The associate guys are going to be quick. It's going to be really tight, I think.
Thanks very much, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers.